Welcome to The Health Hobby, the podcast for busy working moms who are ready to take control of their personal health and fitness, but are feeling stuck in the no progress zone when it comes to knowing exactly what to do when it comes to taking action on their personal healthy lifestyle goals while juggling a full-time job and being the best mom on the planet. Stick with me, a fellow working mom who has found joy in deep diving into all things healthy lifestyle and built realistic strategies around fitness and nutrition that have helped me build confidence, joy, clarity, and excitement around my life, and not to mention my biggest fitness and weight loss goals to date. It's time to kick yo-yo dieting and chronic starting over to the curb. If you're serious about taking control of your weight, confidence, and energy with simple strategies that you can actually maintain while working a full-time job and being the best mama on the planet, you're in the right place, my friend. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to the Health Hobby Podcast. I'm Amanda Ford. I'm glad to have you back. Before we get started, I have a huge favor. Would you mind sharing this podcast with your best friend, your coworkers, anyone that you feel that would love to learn how to make health their hobby, guidance, or is interested in creating a healthier lifestyle routine? I am so passionate and have major goals of helping as many women as possible find these routines, make it a rhythm, a regimen instead of a chore to take care of their personal wellness and their fitness and their weight loss goals. And it would be so helpful if you could spread the word and share the Health Hobby Podcast. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I am so excited for you to stick around with me as I continue to grow the podcast. And let's get started. So today I thought it would be appropriate to talk about managing setbacks and roadblocks when it comes to your fitness and weight loss goals, or even just general healthy living goals. It can seem impossible to maintain consistency in these areas. And a little behind the scenes, I have been down with viral bronchitis for 2 weeks, and I'm actually training for my first 10K race. I've done 3 5Ks, and a few weeks back, I started training for a 10K. I was like, okay, I'm feeling really good at this distance. I'm ready to push farther. And in my training program, I was almost about to hit the 5-mile mark, and I was feeling really good and strong and efficient in my running. I went on a work trip to San Diego and I came back with bronchitis, and I was so worried I had pneumonia. I don't, thank goodness, but this bronchitis is really wreaking havoc on my lungs. Obviously, I'm coughing like crazy, and anytime I really get up and move around, even if it's just to like do the dishes or something, I just start coughing. I can't catch my breath. I'm on 2 medications plus an inhaler. It's a hot mess. And so I thought that this would be the perfect week for me to talk about setbacks and roadblocks when it comes to your weight loss and fitness goals, because they are always going to happen, and they seem to be the number one driver, besides having the lack of time, which I will talk immensely about over the lifespan of this podcast. But setbacks and roadblocks, like you're sick, like I'm sick. I cannot run. Okay, I just can't run. Or maybe your child gets sick, or work gets really busy, right? Maybe you get a project and it's just taking over your personal life. You're working overtime, or the kids' sports schedule shifts. Maybe they're making it into playoffs and now they have a lot of tournaments to get to, and the schedule is all over the place because you don't know if they're going to advance or not. There's so many different scenarios to plug in, right? So it's like, I have a setback because fill in your blank. It could be any or all of those things all at once. I found when I've coached women through weight loss that these are the types of things, like a child getting sick, a change in the work schedule, or even them getting sick, is a catalyst to quitting. And not just quitting for a short time until you get well or get your bearings about you, with the change, but quitting for extended periods of time, such as like 6 months or even a year. And then they're right back where they started, sometimes even farther back than where they started. It's it just seemed appropriate for me to talk about this week. I'm managing week 2, or I'm trying to navigate week 2 of having bronchitis and not training for my race. And I don't want to get too involved in my race training. I'll talk about that on another episode, but I intentionally gave myself several months to train for this race. At the time of recording this, it's June 8th, and my race is in August, at the end of August. And I've already been training for about 5 to 6 weeks. So you can see there's a big gap there. I have a lot of buffer room, and I'm glad that I did that because I'm sick. Something happened. There was a change. It gives me the space to kind of pause and move things around because something happened, right? In the course that I'm building, I have a lesson specifically dedicated to managing setbacks and roadblocks, because I found that when I was coaching women through weight loss that I never really talked about this. I just gave them a meal plan. I gave them a workout. I did some check-ins with them, but we never dug really deep into what does it mean to implement those steps into your life, and how does it shift your life, and what happens when you can't maintain them. And that's really the meat of a healthy living journey, a weight loss journey. When you're trying to find your fitness, you have to be able to know how to navigate these types of roadblocks and setbacks. So I hope you don't have bronchitis like I do. And at this time of recording, there's a nasty cough going around. It is so frustrating. But just think about the things that could happen and what would happen to you. Would it throw you off? I found time and time again that most of my clients get really, really distracted and thrown off course. Even when we kind of rein them back in, it was like they couldn't find their balance again. So I have a philosophy. It's more of, I don't want to call it mindset hacks or what. It's more characteristics of how to manage a setback. And yeah, it is a mindset. It is a mindset, but they're more strategy driven than just kind of like, okay, I'm going to feel like I can do this, or I know, or believing in something. Of course, I want you to believe in yourself, but these are more tactile, more strategic, and I feel like more attainable and understandable than just saying, hey, I need you to have a strong mindset. So let's dive into really the idea that when we're tackling a weight loss or fitness journey, that it is never ever going to be linear. It's going to be the Mickey Mouse roller coaster, loop-de-loop, and all the swirls and spirals you can think of. There will be some straight paths and some smooth sailing, just like a roller coaster, you guys, but there's also going to be twists and turns. It doesn't mean you go off the track. It means that you have to just maneuver through those twists and turns in a really strategic way. You might not do it perfectly, but I have 4 characteristics for you to tap into when it comes to your mindset that will help you navigate instead of quit. So the first thing to remember here is that these are always going to happen. It's never just going to be perfect. And speaking of perfect, the reason it becomes hard to continue when you have a setback or a roadblock is because many women, and I like to call us the super moms, right? We're full-time working moms. We have multiple children. We have pets. We have a home we're taking care of. We have a husband. We have house projects. We have birthday parties, school events, volunteer opportunities, church. I'm not going to list everything. Fill in the blank there. And we want to be the best mom, superhero moms. Perfectionism is in your blood. This is a huge challenge point for me is perfectionism, and it can keep us from moving forward. So remembering that it's never going to be perfect. You might have some perfect weeks, and those are huge wins, but you are absolutely not going to do that all the time, every time. So letting go of that perfectionism, it has to be an all or nothing scenario and workflow when it comes to your weight loss and fitness will help you just kind of take a breath and know that, hey, I didn't hit all my workouts this week. I wasn't 100% on my food, but I still tracked my food every day. I got in 2 workouts and I took the dog on a walk. That's fitness and that's moving forward. That's attention to your eating. Those are wins. It wasn't tight as it wasn't as tight as you wanted it to be. It wasn't as perfect as you wanted it to be, but you still made progress. The other thing that you can do before I get into the characteristics is, like we've already said, you want to recognize and respect that it's not always going to be a perfect game. The next thing that it's a little exercise that I want to tap into is let's identify some obstacles that you can see coming that would throw you off. So the reason we want to kind of pause and think about this, it's a pre-planning strategy. So of course we don't know when you're going to get bronchitis, or when your baby is going to get a fever, or if your boss is going to ask you to work late because of an ad hoc project that came up. We can't foresee those things. Unfortunately, we don't have the crystal ball. But what are some things that you can see? So for example, if I was to pause for about 5 minutes and just kind of do a brainstorm of things that would potentially cause me to go off course when it came to my fitness, would be my kids' sports schedule, or something that comes up at school for them. So a lot of times I notice that in our kids' school system, things are announced last minute. So within the week, they're telling us that it's Monday and they're telling us this is happening on Thursday. It's in the middle of the workday, or it's right after the workday. They have sports. I'm working. We have things to do. It's very last minute. That can throw you off. Maybe it's your husband's work schedule. So my husband works from home, but he will call me sometimes and he'll say, hey, I have a meeting. I am going to go to the gym after work. Well, I like to go to the gym after work, and I like to do my runs after work. And so that changes my flow. That changes what I had planned to do in my fitness and my weight loss journey, right? So if you can just think about some things that can throw you off, because if you can identify them ahead of time, you can use these 4 characteristics, this mindset strategy that I'm going to share with you in a minute, to navigate them and really plan ahead and think about, okay, if this happens, then what, right? So it's like, if A happens, what is your B? If you can't get to B, what is your C? And hey, if none of it works out, that's okay, because these characteristics are going to allow you to kind of really just take a breath and take a more flexible, open-minded approach, getting rid of the perfectionism that keeps you from inaction and frustration and resentment that ultimately leads you to quitting. And my goal here in these podcasts and on my social media is to encourage you to just always keep going, because it's a lifelong thing. I might offer challenges, right? 8-week programs, 9-week programs, maybe even 16-week programs. Those are blocks of time in your life. But after those blocks of time, you just have to keep going. This is not, I'm sure you've heard, it's a lifestyle, right? It is a lifestyle, and it's just something that happens. And so I want to encourage routines and rhythms and systems instead of perfectionism for like 16 weeks and then you let it go, or you've done it for 3 weeks and then one of these obstacles or roadblocks comes up in your life and you quit. Also, we're going to want to identify that you do need downtime and rest sometimes. So a really great example is if you come down with bronchitis. It's okay. And just remember, it's okay to sit on the couch for 2 weeks and let your lungs heal. I'm kind of giving you a little behind the scenes into my brain. It's been really difficult not to go for runs after work. I'm upset about it. I feel like I am delaying my training. But I do know that, I have some strategies in place. That's why I gave myself so many weeks for this training. But to be honest, guys, it's not always easy, right? You feel guilty. You feel like you gave up on yourself. But it's okay when you need downtime and rest. Even if you've been hitting your fitness and your meal tracking and, your nutrition like a boss, like super tight, it's been on the money, like you've completely crushed it, right, for the last few weeks. But then all of a sudden, you're just feeling exhausted, like out of nowhere. Maybe your cycle's coming. It's okay to just rest. It's okay. That doesn't mean you quit forever. And it doesn't mean you quit forever because you're going to use these 4 characteristics. I promise they're coming. So you want to be able to allow yourself to build in those downtimes and rest times into your life, even when you feel like you're giving up on yourself on that particular day. If you're really feeling exhausted, say you didn't sleep well the night before and you're supposed to get up and hit your workout, I think that you should honestly, I would say, rest and regain your strength and just hit it next week, hit it the next day and be okay with that. And that's called being flexible. That's one of the characteristics. Again, I promise they're coming. So let's get into the 4 characteristics of success when it comes to managing a weight loss and fitness journey, and not only the journey, but the lifestyle that comes after you've hit your goals. The 4 characteristics are honesty, flexibility, creativity, and bravery. I want you to tap into one or all of these and allow them to be your guiding star for staying on course, because again, I'm trying to encourage you and myself as I talk to you to let go of that perfectionism mindset and that perfectionism fire that is just burning in your heart. It's like, if I don't get all my workouts in every day, I'm a failure. If I don't track my meal every day perfectly and to the gram, I am not doing it right or perfectly, and I'm not good at this. I'm not worthy of doing this. I'm not that type of woman. This is not for me. First of all of that is 100% wrong. You deserve all of the time and space to work on your weight loss and fitness goals and a healthy lifestyle forever and ever. And just because you think you're doing something wrong, I can guarantee you, if you're doing any of these steps, tracking your food, hitting your fitness goals in whatever way that means for you every week, and even missing a day, or maybe you had a party and so you didn't track your food and you ate off your meal plan, you are doing 90% more than the general population. And that is huge. And you should remember that. Let's talk about the first characteristic, honesty. So the reason I like to bring up honesty is when it comes to scheduling, or if you get sick or something happens with the kids or their schedule or husband's schedules, whatever, it could be anything, that you have to say, okay, I'm going to pause right now. Is this something I really need to put my attention to? Is this something that I can say no to? Be honest. If it's something you can say no to and it doesn't really have a major effect on those around you or yourself, go ahead and say no and use that time to keep moving forward on your goals. Use that time to get your workout and get to the gym. You have to be honest with yourself. Do you really need to volunteer every single week at the kids' school? Is that absolutely necessary? I bring up honesty because us moms are always like, I have to be at school. I have to be the volunteer. I have to go to every field trip, while also working full time, also maintaining the house, also doing all the grocery shopping, cooking, walking the dog, participating in other people's events and parties, doing church service, throwing parties at your own house, doing crafts with your kids, and participating as a mom in that sense. Listen, you don't have to do everything. You need to be honest with yourself. You cannot do it all. And I love tapping into the honesty thing when it comes to my scheduling, because it allows me to take a pause and say, hey, I can volunteer once a month, and that's still me participating as a mother and participating in our school community and being there and present. That is just as good. And honestly, it's still the same. You're opening up space for you to work on yourself. And an example that goes with, what's going on with me right now is like, okay, are you really that sick that you can't run? Yes, I am. Excuse me. Yes, I am. I need to rest. I'm on 3 medications so I can even walk around and breathe right now. And that's okay. If you're feeling resentful and frustrated because you feel like other people are taking over your schedule, or something's keeping you from your fitness or your nutrition goals, is there someone you need to talk to? Do you need to have a conversation with someone? That's honesty. And then you need to take action on that honesty. So this is a really powerful characteristic that can keep you on track and keep you true to yourself. Characteristic number 2, it's flexibility. This one's really big when it comes to getting rid of the perfectionism fire that's burning in your little tummy right now. You have to be flexible when it comes to your weight loss and fitness goals. Perfectionism will not get you to the end goal. Well, maybe for some people. For most people, you need to have a flexible attitude. And what that means is when you get sick, when something happens with the kids' schedule, you kind of have to roll with the flow. And when something really can't be changed or navigated in the way that you want, you have to be honest and allow yourself to be flexible in that sense and say, okay, I was supposed to go to the gym or go for my run in the evening, but now my husband's going to go and I need to stay home and manage the house for the evening. How can I adjust my goals and be flexible to manage this setback, this roadblock that just happened to me? Okay, so I could say, I'm not going to run after work today because I have this other obligation I have to do, right? That there's no changing it. So maybe instead of running, I do a home workout, or I do yoga after dinner, or I round the kids up and I do a family walk after dinner instead of going for my run. And it's not perfect. It's not the exact plan, but it's being flexible and getting to a place of just keeping the ball rolling. I even tapped into the third characteristic here, and that's creativity. So flexibility and creativity kind of go hand in hand. So you're allowing yourself to maneuver and be agile when it comes to your goals. And then number 3, creativity. How can you still get your goals done if something comes up? So I'm going to use my example again of having bronchitis, right? I'm being honest. I'm really sick. I can't be running. But I'm not down with a fever. I'm not really lethargic or anything. But what I can do is I can walk. So I can take my dog on an extra long walk on the weekends. I can walk after work instead of run. I can walk the same distance and I can walk slower than I would usually. So my lungs aren't at max capacity in my walk and they're still kind of just chilling, recovering. And I'm still getting fitness and I'm still getting a workout in. That's being creative and being flexible, getting rid of that perfectionism fire. You can get creative in a lot of ways. If it comes to your schedule and you're just like, I don't have time to do any of this. What am I going to do? I just want to get my workouts in. How can you get creative and say, hey, I kind of actually talked about this. Instead of creative and flexibility, again, they go together. How can I open up more time in my calendar? Okay, well, I'm going to drop back from school volunteering hours from 4 days a month to 1 day a month. I'm still participating, but now I've opened up 3 chunks of time. I can get my workouts in, or I can get to the grocery store so I can meal prep, or I can work on a personal goal, whatever that is. You could ask for help, right? We're going into the 4th characteristic here, bravery. The reason I have bravery on here as a characteristic of success when we're managing setbacks and roadblocks is that many of us full-time working moms, I'm just going to say most of us, okay? No, I'm actually going to say all of us. We have a bad habit of not asking for help. Again, you are in this perfectionism fire, me and you. I'm not just talking to you, I'm also talking to myself. We are in this superhero, super mom place where we have to do everything. And letting go and asking someone for help is very scary. For me, I can tell you that it brings up fear. It makes me feel like someone's going to judge me, that I can't do all the things that I want to do, or that I need to do, that I'm imposing on someone else's time. And it makes me feel just like icky inside and bad. It makes me feel guilty. Bravery in being courageous is needed to ask for help. So if you have a setback and that setback is, hey, my work is off the hook crazy right now. It's going to be like this for about 2 months. We have a huge project going on, a huge push. It's taking up a lot of my personal time. I have to work overtime. What that does is that your time is getting sucked. So your schedule is getting manipulated in a way that you did not foresee. This is a roadblock. So being brave and even going even to your boss and saying, hey, this project is taking up a lot of my personal time. How can I ask for help? Can you recommend maybe some other workflows that would allow me to continue to move forward on this project for our office and also allow me to tap back into my personal time? I'm really not getting my workouts in and it's starting to affect me emotionally and physically. Don't be afraid to say those things to your boss. Ask for time to work on yourself. Here's the thing. Being brave and telling your employer, your director, whoever you report to, that you need time for personal wellness is so scary, but it will benefit them immensely. If you're working on your personal fitness, your nutrition, you become more productive and you become an incredible asset to that business and company. Even if you're an entrepreneur, it's the same for you. If you're not working on your personal wellness and fitness, your business is going to suffer. So be brave. Ask your husband. I have to say this. I do not like asking my husband to do anything. I will do all the doctor's appointments. I will do dinner all the time. But here's the reality. He's totally capable and absolutely willing to help me. I am just scared to ask him because I'm like, he's going to judge me. He's going to be like, oh, I actually don't even know what I think he thinks, but I'm afraid to ask him all the time to do these things because I feel like I'm imposing on my husband's time when really it's important to remember, you got to be honest with yourself, right? We're in this together. You're in your business with your boss together. You're in a relationship, raising children with your husband. You are in this together. You have to be brave and ask for help. Ask your parents for help. Ask your neighbor. Can you be like, hey, I need 3 days a week that I just want 45 minutes to get a workout in. Would you mind watching my daughter for 3 days a week for 45 minutes? I'll give you a bottle of wine. Like, just get creative, brave. See, this is what I'm saying. Honesty, flexibility, creativity, bravery. Just ask for the help. The worst that will happen is they say, hey, that's not going to work out for me. And guess what? You're still in the same place you were before. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. Then you're like, okay, that didn't work out for me. How can I get creative and come up with another solution? So tap into that bravery so you can ask for help to open up time so you can maneuver setbacks or roadblocks that are keeping you from your goals. All right, I get fired up talking about these characteristics because I came up with them when I was really trying to think about why some of my clients were falling off after they experienced a setback or roadblock. And it's okay to fall off. Like, I've done it multiple times. It's going to happen again for all of us. But when it happens and we tap into these 4 characteristics, it's like we're doing it in a graceful way. And yeah, we might have to take a couple weeks off like I am right now with my cough and my bronchitis, but I'm still being creative and honest. Like, yeah, I should sit down and rest, but I don't feel bad enough that I can't move a little bit more. So I'm just taking the dog on extra long walks to make sure that I'm getting in a little bit more fitness while my body's healing. Tapping into these characteristics simply gives you the tools and strategies, resources, and guidance to maneuver setbacks and roadblocks without feeling like you're a failure, you suck, like you'll never ever be able to maintain your weight loss and fitness goals ever again, or putting them on full pause and ignoring them and not taking any action at all because you're stuck in that mindset of perfection. You're in the fire of perfection. Let's take a breath. Oh, that feels so good because I haven't been able to breathe very well. Let's take a breath, tap in to honesty, flexibility, creativity, bravery, and douse that fire of perfectionism so you can maneuver setbacks and roadblocks forever and ever. All right, guys, if you want more Health Hobby Podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. If there's something you want me to talk about, a topic that has to do with weight loss, fitness, being a full-time mom, and managing those weight loss and fitness goals, meal planning, nutrition, let me know. Pop over to Instagram at The Health Hobby and send me a DM. I love getting your messages, questions, comments, feedback. It is so fun making this podcast for you guys, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Have a happy and healthy day. Thanks for listening to The Health Hobby.